Imagine spending like years building this massive international fan base right in the middle of New York City.
Right, a total pressure cooker.
Exactly. You build it around a highly specific identity. You get the TV placements, the radio play, you have this incredibly recognizable brand, and then
You throw it all away.
well, you pack it all up, move across the country, and literally change your name. I mean, on paper, it sounds like total career sabotage.
Oh, yeah. It sounds like you're taking a match to everything you've just built.
Yeah, but for Greek-born musician Nick Anastasakis, abandoning the familiar, it wasn't an act of destruction at all. It was more like an essential, almost inevitable software update.
Software update. I like that. Because it really does upend how we usually think about, reinvention.
Oh, for sure.
We tend to operate on this binary idea that the old you has to be entirely deleted from the hard drive so the new you can, install.
Right, like a factory reset.
Yeah, exactly. But when you look at the actual mechanics of artistic evolution, it's never just a blank slate. I mean, the most compelling artists operate on this living, breathing continuum where the core programming never actually changes.
Which brings us perfectly to the mission for today's deep dive. We are exploring the fascinating evolution of a musician who proves that you can continually reinvent yourself without ever, erasing your own history.
It's a great journey to unpack.
It really is. And for those of you who've been listening for a while, we previously took a deep dive, which was sponsored by Dulaxi, by the way, into Nick's former identity, the Afro Nick.
Yeah, we really dug into his unconventional path back then, the whole indie grind.
We did. But today, we're digging into a stack of totally fresh sources because the story has officially moved forward. He has entered a brand new chapter under the name Afro Nick.
And just to clarify for everyone, that is the number 4 instead of the letter A.
Right, Afro Nick.
Yeah.
And he's marking this whole new era with a brand new Los Angeles-based 2-track release.
That aesthetic choice of using the number 4, it's actually doing a lot of heavy lifting.
How so?
Well, by swapping the letter for a digit, it visually shifts the identity from an organic physical trait, which, reference his unmistakable hairstyle, into something resembling a digital aesthetic.
Oh, like a software version.
Exactly. It looks like a version number.
Yeah.
It tells the audience instantly that, hey, this isn't a different person. This is an optimized iteration.
Man, have you ever had to completely reinvent yourself, like professionally or personally?
Oh, yeah. It's terrifying.
It really is. It feels terrifying because you think you have to learn a whole new operating system. But looking at this transition to 4-Fro, Nick, he isn't throwing out the computer. The hardware is identical.
It's version 4.0.
Right. The original source code, his core values of authenticity, emotional honesty, creative freedom, all of those are still running the entire machine. It's just, running faster and with way more clarity.
And to truly understand how an artist optimizes their identity like that, you can't just look at the code itself. No, you have to look at the environment where that code was written, right? And the servers it's been hosted on since. The geography of his sound is the actual narrative here.
Yeah, his story stretches across 3 very distinct sonic environments. So the foundation is the island of Crete in Greece.
Beautiful place.
It's an incredible place. But when you're growing up surrounded by Venetian streets, you aren't exactly learning music in a sterile, soundproofed recording studio, right?
Far from it.
The sources highlight that his early exposure was like traveling guitarists and these really raw, spontaneous performances out in the open air.
Which wires a developing musical brain in a very, very specific, permanent way.
Tell me more about that.
Well, when your first understanding of music is totally unmediated by heavy production, when it's literally just the human being manipulating an instrument in a public space, you learn that music is fundamentally about immediate human connection.
Because they can just walk away.
Exactly. You have to capture a pedestrian's attention in 5 seconds. That translates into an instinct for rhythm and melody that you frankly just cannot teach in a conservatory.
That makes so much sense.
By 2009, he takes that specific wiring and founds the indie rock band Stray Blue, which brought this huge, fresh wave to his local scene. I mean, he was challenging expectations early on, basically building an infrastructure for indie rock that didn't even exist on his island yet.
But then he takes this massive leap, right? He moves to New York City, and this is where he adopts the Afro Nick persona.
A huge shift in environment.
Huge. He builds the international audience, gets the independent releases out there, and pushes this fierce message of embracing individuality. And now, today, he's based in Los Angeles.
Right.
To me, this geographic progression explains basically everything about the sound. New York City was the pressure cooker that forced him to project.
Oh, absolutely. You're playing in crowded, noisy venues. You have to shout over the noise just to establish your brand.
But Los Angeles, LA feels like the acoustic treatment that finally allows him to whisper and still be heard perfectly.
That is a great way to put it. The atmospheric clarity of the Los Angeles creative scene is legendary for exactly that reason. It affords artists the physical and psychological space to refine.
Okay, wait. I'm going to push back on this a little bit.
Oh, there you go.
I have a hard time buying that a zip code actually dictates an artist's sound. I mean, don't artists just move to cities that already match the music playing in their heads?
That's a fair question.
Right. Like, is this a case of Los Angeles physically turning him into Afro Nick? Or did he pack his bags for the West Coast because he was already becoming Afro Nick and just needed the right room to record in?
It's the ultimate chicken or egg scenario for creatives, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is usually this kind of symbiotic mirror effect.
A mirror effect.
Yeah, so moving from the spontaneous, highly interactive street performances of Greece into the relentless, high-volume indie grind of New York City, and finally landing in the polished, expansive creative atmosphere of Los Angeles. It's a physical manifestation of his internal evolution.
So they feed into each other.
Exactly. The environment demands a certain presentation, sure, but the artist also seeks out the environment that allows their current truth to resonate. The core values stay the exact same, but the presentation adapts to the acoustics of the room.
Wow. Okay.
And that Los Angeles acoustic clarity completely dictated how he chose to introduce this new chapter.
Yeah, because he didn't drop a massive, sprawling double album to announce this era. He released exactly 2 tracks.
Just 2.
We have Don't Waste My Time, the LA mix, and Get There Before Noon, the LA2 mix.
And the sources tie them together under this really cool overarching philosophy.
Yeah, that life is way too valuable to waste, your individuality should never be compromised, and the present moment has to be fully actively lived.
And the genre blending on these tracks is intricate. It's taking indie rock, but heavily infusing it with soul, funk, alternative rock, and even some psychedelic elements.
But honestly, with a geographical journey this epic and a whole new identity to establish dropping just 2 songs feels almost dangerous.
So?
I mean, can an artist really plant a flag and say, here is my entire new identity in just 8 minutes of music?
Well, it only feels dangerous if you're measuring artistic weight by volume instead of density.
Oh, density. That's interesting.
Right. What we're witnessing here is incredible discipline. By releasing a micro-release of just 2 tracks, Afro Nick is making a concise, remarkably focused statement of purpose.
Instead of a bloated album.
Exactly. Think about your typical 12-track album. You inevitably have 3 or 4 songs that are just skipping material.
Right.
They're placed there just a game streaming algorithm.
Oh, totally. Just filler.
By ruthlessly stripping all that filler away, he delivers a cohesive message that hits much harder. It says exactly what it intends to say, and then it gets out of your way.
And that discipline of stripping away the excess is exactly what makes the music itself so magnetic.
It really is.
When you listen to the title track, Don't Waste My Time, you feel that lack of filler immediately. From the second I put this on, my head was just bobbing.
It hooks you right away.
It completely abandons that standard cookie-cutter pop formula where you're just, tapping your foot waiting for a manufactured chorus to drop. It thrives entirely on rhythm and atmosphere.
And that requires an explanation of how those genres are actually blending, because it's not just a mishmash of sound.
No, it's really deliberate.
Yeah, you have this highly syncopated, in-the-pocket funk rhythm. But instead of laying a traditional retro soul arrangement over it, it's infused with this distinctly modern indie rock sensibility.
And the musicianship driving that blend is just phenomenal. Listening to it, you can basically feel the physical chemistry in the room.
Oh, the band is incredible.
You have George Alanis on bass laying down this deep, resonant line that anchors the entire groove. Then there's Leo Genovese, who is a Grammy-winning keyboardist, by the way, and he brings this incredible warmth.
Yeah, Genovese's contribution is so vital to the spatial dynamics of the track. When we talk about warm harmonic color, we're talking about the specific use of analog keyboard textures rather than those stark digital pianos.
Right, there's a big difference.
Huge difference. Those analog tones fill the mid-range frequencies of the song, creating this lush, vibrating bed for the rhythm section to bounce against. It literally makes the track feel physically close to you as a listener.
And speaking of the rhythm section, Johnny Radelat on drums is the glue here. His performance is disciplined, but it never feels stiff.
Because the production team, Bharat Ramanath and Luciano Vasson, they clearly made a deliberate, incredible...
Right, they lose the human element.
Exactly. Here, they preserve the live band energy. You can actually hear the human push and pull of the tempo. The slight imperfections are what make it groove. You know, the percussion and the sharp trumpet accents honor the timeless appeal of actual musicians communicating in a room together. The instruments aren't competing for frequency space, they're conversing.
But here is the most surprising part of that conversation for me.
What's that?
With a band this locked in and a groove this deep, the absolute standard move is for the lead singer to just belt it out, to wail over the track and really show off their range.
Oh yeah, the typical diva moment.
Right. But Nick refuses to do that. The vocals are delivered with such deliberate restraint. He treats his voice like it's just another instrument in the rhythm section rather than this dominant, overpowering melodic force.
And restraint is infinitely harder to execute than belting.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. When you belt, volume can hide a multitude of flaws. But when you pull your vocal back, you expose everything. Every breath, every slight waver in pitch, every emotional hesitation. It requires supreme confidence to sing quietly over a dense groove.
You know, it reminds me of being at a dinner party. You know the type of person who is just shouting over everyone else to be heard.
Yeah, the one nobody actually wants to talk to.
Exactly. You instinctively tune them out. But the master conversationalist, they actually drop their volume. They speak a little more softly, which forces you to physically lean in.
That's a great analogy.
And because you have to lean in, you absorb every single word they say. Nick's intimate delivery cuts right through that polished LA production, pulling you straight into the pocket of the groove.
It's mesmerizing.
It really is. And on a personal level, I joked with my friends that I need to set this specific track as my literal morning alarm clock. I mean, you know that feeling when you look up from your phone and realize 45 minutes just vanished into a void of doom scrolling?
Oh, yeah. A very familiar, very modern paralysis.
Yeah, exactly. This track is the sonic antidote to that paralysis. The restraint in his voice makes the message, don't waste my time, feel like a personal boundary rather than some aggressive demand. It's so effective.
It really draws you in.
Let's actually take a quick listen to how that restraint sits right inside the groove.
Waste my time. I'm here just for one night. Just for one night. Just for tonight. It's been so long since we've had some fun. Meet me right now, let's have some fun.
So notice how the vocal doesn't sit entirely on top of the mix, but rather inside it?
Yeah, it's blended right in.
That is the acoustic treatment of LA we were talking about earlier, finding the clarity to whisper.
And if that first track is about fiercely protecting your time and setting up those personal boundaries, the second track broadens the lens entirely.
It definitely shifts the perspective.
Yeah, track 2 is Get There Before Noon, the LA2 mix.
No.
If track 1 asks you to protect your time, track 2 asks you the much harder question, what are you actually doing with the time you just saved?
And the sonic shift between the two tracks perfectly mirrors that wider perspective.
It sounds huge.
It really does. The tight, funk-infused indie groove expands into these immersive psychedelic guitar textures. You have these driving bass lines paired with evolving atmospheric synth layers.
It's a whole vibe.
Yeah, it creates a soundscape that feels expansive, like looking at a horizon. Yet the emotional core remains deeply intimate.
The vocal approach completely shifts here too. The rhythmically restrained conversationalist from track one is suddenly moving back and forth into this anthemic, soaring determination.
You can really feel the tension in the lyrics.
You really can. He's capturing this universal push and pull between the heavy expectations society places on you and the desperate need for personal freedom. He's urging the listener to just define their own path.
It's a very empowering message.
But I have a philosophical question about this title. Get there before noon.
Okay, let's unpack it.
In a culture that is utterly obsessed with the hustle, beating the clock, maximizing every waking second for productivity, does getting there before noon imply that we are supposed to be rushing through life? Is this just a beautifully produced anthem for hustle culture? Or is there a totally different mechanism at play here regarding how we take action?
I would say it is the absolute antithesis of hustle culture.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, hustle culture is about volume and speed. Getting there before noon is about deliberate, intentional action. And this is actually where his geographic origins provide the master key to understanding the lyric.
Wait, going back to Greece.
Exactly. Think back to those Venetian streets in Crete.
The raw canvas, the unmediated performances.
Precisely. Those traveling musicians playing on the street didn't sit around waiting for a perfectly acoustically tuned concert hall to share their art.
Right, they just played.
They didn't wait for a label executive to give them permission. They didn't wait for the ideal circumstances. They just played. They seized the immediate moment with the tools they had.
That's a powerful connection.
This track is a direct reflection of that philosophy applied to everyday life. It's a reminder of how incredibly fleeting our time is and the very real danger of waiting for the perfect moment to start living the life you actually want.
Because the perfect moment is a total myth.
Exactly. Get there before noon isn't about running a race against someone else. It means showing up for your own life, taking deliberate action while the sun is still rising.
Wow.
It means not sleeping through your own potential, waiting for the weather to clear.
Showing up for your own life while the sun is still rising. I love that. That completely reframes the song for me. It takes it from just a catchy indie rock tune and turns it into a genuine life philosophy.
It really does.
When you look at these two tracks together, they provide this perfectly unclouded window into what Afro Nick is trying to say. It's a perspective on contemporary music that feels earned, because it is so well-traveled.
We've really traced a remarkable trajectory here today.
We have.
From the unmediated, raw energy of the streets in Crete, through the incredibly demanding, volume-heavy indie grind of New York City, all the way to the polished, expansive clarity of the studios in Los Angeles.
Quite the road trip.
From Stray Blue to the Afro Nick to the optimized Afro Nick.
And through all those thousands of miles and all the rebranding, the core source code remained completely intact.
Unchanged.
Right. He is armed with outstanding musicianship, deep emotional honesty, and a real refusal to rely on musical filler. He's championing the idea of living boldly, fiercely guarding your individuality, and making the absolute most out of the present moment.
It's a testament to the idea that true artistic growth doesn't actually require you to abandon who you were.
No.
It requires you to figure out how to express who you were always meant to be using the best tools available in your current environment.
Which brings us entirely back to you listening to this deep dive right now. Think about your own life. What are you waiting for the ideal circumstances to start doing?
It's a tough question.
Is there a project you want to launch? A difficult conversation you need to have? Or maybe a massive leap you keep putting off just because the timing doesn't feel mathematically perfect? How can you apply the philosophy of getting there before noon to your own Tuesday morning?
It's a deeply uncomfortable but totally necessary question to sit with. Are you protecting your time or are you just killing it?
And you definitely don't have to take our word for how powerful this shift in perspective is. You really need to hear this sonic evolution for yourself.
Absolutely.
The link to listen to Afro Nick's brand new 2-track EP is right there in the description of this deep dive. Click it, let that analog warmth and unquantized groove wash over you, and seriously, let "Don't Waste My Time" be the alarm clock that snaps you out of your next doom-scrolling session.
It's highly effective audio caffeine. I highly recommend it.
Before we go, we want to give a massive, incredibly warm thank you to Dulaxi for sponsoring this deep dive.
Yes, thank you, Dulaxi.
We always appreciate their support in giving us the space to unpack these amazing stories and dive into the mechanics of how great art is actually made.
Our sincere thanks to Dulaxi for making these conversations possible.
And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final lingering thought to mull over today. Let's circle back to how we started this whole conversation about the whiteboard and the expectation of erasing your past.
The factory reset idea.
Right. Reinvention isn't about destroying your old self. It's not about burning down the house you built or pretending the past didn't happen just because it wasn't perfectly polished.
No, it's not.
Real, true evolution is having the courage to take the raw, messy core of who you are, carry it across continents and through different eras of your life, and confidently spell your own name differently as you and the world change together.